What's up guys, Fbomb here from the Fbombbikelife, and here we're going to be doing a coolant flush on the 2008 Yamaha R6. So the first thing we're going to be doing is removing these fairings. What we need to get to is this bolt right here, which is the drain plug for the coolant, the radiator, and also the reservoir, which is down here. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start removing the fairings. Alright, so now we got the fairings completely off of the bike. Now we're going to be removing this little nut right here. This is actually the drain plug for the coolant. And if you want to zoom out, that way they can see the whole bike. They can see exactly where it's at. It's going to be right there. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our 8mm socket and we're going to remove that. Now the bike is completely cool. Did not run it today, so won't have to worry about hot coolant coming out. But if your bike was running, I would let it cool off for at least an hour, because the coolant does get extremely hot and it will burn your skin. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing this. But for right now, we're just going to loosen that up so it's hand tight. See it already dripping out. Pull that bucket up. And out will come the coolant in a moment. Screw this along. My coolant. Alright, so apparently we have no coolant in here, so it's a good thing I'm doing a coolant flush. There it goes. Not very fast. So we're going to see if this works. So if you look up here, I'm actually going to remove the radiator cap, which is right here, and we're going to see if that releases any pressure. And there we go. So what happens with that, the reason why that happened is that the radiator cap being on there creates kind of a vacuum seal that allows the coolant to stay in one spot. When you release that, it releases the air out of the coolant system, whatever you want to call it, throughout all the hoses on the bike, and it just lets the liquid just drain out. I'm going to put it back on a kickstand. See if we can't just let it free fall on its own without me holding the bike up. And it looks like it's working just fine. We're going to keep an eye on that. Make sure this doesn't get too over full. And it's dripping everywhere right now. Definitely a messy job. Be prepared to be cleaning up a mess afterwards. And we're going to be right back after this is completely drained. So it looks like we're just about all the way empty on the coolant. We're just waiting for the last couple drips. If you don't get it all right away, it's okay. That's what the distilled water is for. We're actually going to flush out all the old coolant out of the bike with the distilled water. For the next step, what we want to do, let me put the bike back down. We're going to remove this reservoir right here using the 10mm socket, and we're going to go ahead and dump out all the coolant out of there as well. Alright, so now that we got those loose, completely out, and I'm going to remove this little hose. Now this hose is what where the, I guess you would say, excess coolant goes into. I'm going to dump that out completely. Here we go. And I am going to fill this up with distilled water as well. We're going to wash it around a little bit, then dump it out again. So, but for now, I'm just going to put it right there. And what we're going to do right now, we're going to take your funnel, homemade or actual funnel, doesn't matter. You're going to put it in there. And what we're going to do, we're going to be pouring distilled water into the radiator, flushing out all the old coolant out of your bike. But for now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to empty this coolant into my backup bucket. That way I have room for the water. So this is what we're working with right now. We're working with distilled water. You do not want to use tap water or bottled water. The reason is this water is actually specially designed for steam irons, formulas, batteries, and most distilled water uses. Always use, no matter what. You go to the grocery store, this big bucket of distilled water only cost me $1. Just do the distilled water. Take it from me. Now, next what we're going to do, as I'm pouring the water, you guys are going to see the water being transferred from the radiator to the drain plug. It's going to be coming out to this bucket. I'm going to pour it very slowly. I'm pouring just a little bit at a time. And if you look down there, see the green coming out, but it's a lighter green because it's mixed with the distilled water. This is flushing out your radiator, getting rid of any odor, coolant that might be left into your bike. Now again, this can be messy. I'm not using a regular funnel, so this is going to be a little bit messy for me, but it's okay. And as you can see, the water is getting clearer and clearer. You want that water to be as clear as possible. And I'm going to use this whole jug to make sure that that coolant is completely out of that radiator. That looks fairly clean. If I were you, I would flush at least 2 or 3 times just to make sure you get all the coolant out of there. Especially if you're going from a standard Greek coolant to a engine ice, because it is awesome. So we're gonna go ahead and pour the rest of this distilled water into this radiator. What I'm going to do now is we're going to run the engine. It's actually going to run the water throughout the whole cooling system, and it's going to give it a much more thorough cleaning. So we got this water looking very, very clear. It's about as clear as I can get it. I mean, I can't see it getting any more clear than that. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take this reservoir off and I'm going to pour some distilled water in there, and I'm basically just going to rinse it out and get it as clean as possible. You guys can see that. I'm not sure if that's dirt, gunk, or what, but something's underneath it, and I'm going to try to get that all the way up. But I'm going to do that outside because it's getting messy. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put the drain plug back in there, and then after that we're going to fill the radiator up with the engine ice, but what we want to make sure we don't overflow it, so I'm going to have to keep an eye on the level as close as possible. And then we're also going to be filling up this reservoir. Now right here, if you see low and full, you don't want it full, you don't want it low, you want it right in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to use your 8mm socket, tighten that back up. Now you don't want it too tight, you don't want to over tighten it, just enough so it's on there and ain't going nowhere. There we go, that's perfect. And then what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take the engine ice and we're going to fill the radiator up. If you guys weren't sure about what this hose is actually for, if you come over here and look, if you see this hose right here, it's connecting to the top of the radiator right here. Go and get closer. The hose is actually connecting to the top of the radiator right here. Now if you look inside the radiator right here, you'll see a little hole right here. Now what that is for overflowing of coolant. So what will happen, instead of the radiator getting so much pressure of all the coolant bubbling up, because the coolant actually does bubble inside the radiator, instead of it bubbling up creating pressure and exploding that radiator cap off, it actually drains into the reservoir. So that's actually what the reservoir is for, in case you guys didn't know. This is going to be the challenging part because I need to put so much coolant in there and I can't waste any. So we're pouring into the radiator now. Very gently, very slowly. And I'm going to go ahead and top this off and we'll be right back. I have this filled up, the reservoir full of engine ice. So next what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put this reservoir back on there. And next thing we're going to do after this, we're actually going to run the bike with the radiator cap off. And the reason why we're going to do that is to make sure that any air pockets coming through the system of the bike, the cooling system of the bike, is actually aired out, meaning no bubbles, any air hoses. And once we see that it's going all the way up, we're going to let it run, then we're going to stop, let it cool off for a minute, then we're going to do it again, and then wait for the fans to come on again, and then we should be good. Turn the radiator cap back on, and that should do it. So let's go ahead and start that. I'm actually going to open the garage door for exhaust and other fumes that we don't want to deal with. Alright, so while we're waiting for the engine to cool off, this is the final stage of the radiator flush. I'm going to go ahead and read you some facts about engine ice. Engine ice was developed in the extreme heat and humidity of southern Florida and offers unsurpassed heat reduction and protection while eliminating water pump seal and gasket failures. Engine ice offers proven reductions in overall operating temperatures. This reduction in operating temperatures allows your engine to maintain maximum horsepower longer. Engine ice meets or exceeds the industry's performance standards of ASTM D5216. Engine ice has also surpassed the most harshest tests, including the most recent ASTM D3306 and ASTM D4985. Engine ice is pre-mixed with deionized water for use directly in the cooling system. No need to add water. The deionized water eliminates the harmful materials and chemicals found in even the finest bottled and distilled waters. This process helps eliminate the scaling of deposit buildup found with other products and allows the prolonged operation at low temperatures. Engine ice uses an essential non-toxic propylene formula that helps to guard against the accidental poisoning of humans, pets, plants, and wildlife. Meaning this stuff is eco-friendly. Not only is it eco-friendly, but it also prolongs your horsepower for your bike. So that's pretty cool. Engine is cooled off. I have the radiator cap back on there. Check. Got the drain plug on there. Check. The reservoir hose is back in there. Check. And we're good to go. So I'm going to run it one more time. I'm going to check for leaks. And we're going to see about it. So it looks good. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to comment down below. If I miss a step, please comment down below, let me know. I know how much you guys love to tell me that I'm doing something wrong, and I appreciate it. Believe it or not, I really do appreciate it. I take all these comments of criticism the best way I can. It's my responsibility to make a proper coolant flush video. So again, thank you guys for joining me. Until next time, thank you for joining me on this episode of FBOMB. Peace.